Hello, I'm named Andrew Arboe. You probably see me on Facebook. I'm in just about almost every Connecticut disability autism community Facebook group everywhere. Always the one posting about driving, so this will probably ring a lot of doorbells on your heads as you are watching this. But I'm shooting this video for everyone and going over more personal stories and selling myself more, even more and more.
What were your fears when you began the process of getting your license?
Good question. Basically, just like there was a lack of the kind of some parents would be asking, is this realistic for my teen or young adult? Basically that, except it was more to myself and not really my dad. My dad was more anxious because of obviously the autism and there's like not a lot in Connecticut until now. Until now, for obvious reasons, as I'm doing this video right now. But I just anxiety, just not sure, and driving this new kind of this abstract like topic, and of all these rules and all these other ones, and taking care of your car. There's just so many like big things, but actually tiny things. But for like new people discovering driving, how would you know we wouldn't be? How you know that this something that's scary isn't too bad when you finally get like to it?
So how has your driving experience been overall?
If I have to say, if I told my younger self that driving will get me a full-time job and I'd be working at a driving school and I'd be doing presentations, my 21 to 25-year-old self would look at me and be like, what? So it's been quite a journey, and it is. I tell people like what I created essentially kind of like a Star Wars, of a more localized Star Wars success story. Not like the grand scale, but kind of more in the Connecticut scale of honest. Like I've never expected to be indirectly behind the creation of the program and kind of officially an employee of the next street and everything else. Like it's been really good, and the fact that I'm able to combine several interests. And I used to kind of fear driving, but now it's like, kind of like I reversed it into a special interest of mine, and the fact that I can combine a lot of things and make it enjoyable while safely driving as much as I can.
How old were you when you got your license?
About 25.
When did you get your permit?
Actually 21, but I kind of aged out of the school system.
Yep.
And the CRIF, which is basically what happens when schools have to let people go just because of the special ed, how special ed is like, how the system is made up. Like, they basically kick you out at age 21. I mean, by that I mean they give you your graduation certificate if you didn't go through their post-high school program. A lot of changes.
You got your permit at age 21, and then you got your license at age 25?
Yeah, I didn't realize that CRIF was a lot of things. A lot of it I can't say here. Visit the midnight version of this, and I could say it all. But it is not fun. It just search up autism and adulthood, and you will see all the problems that comes with that statistics. I'm not gonna say it here, but I just kind of put the topic away for a while, and after I kind of knew exactly what I wanted to do in life, I went back to driving. Mostly because I need it, because me working in the autism field, you need a license. I research a lot of jobs. A license is guaranteed. You must have it.
Okay, what advice do you have for parents whose young adults with autism are learning to drive?
This could be because I recently been doing a lot of consultings, and the question actually is it really depends. It depends on obviously the person trying to drive and find out what works for them, what's doing. One of the things I focus on when I talk to people is like their motivations, desires, and their special interests, hobbies that have like a good focus. Like obviously for me, it's like driving, work, and more work, and then video game stuff on a social sense. Like I actually play a lot of video game music that tends to help me out. But it's really just, it's one of those, and I'm gonna steal from Jeremy's, is it basically just have to find what works for you. And again, autism is really no collective, and it must be person by person. If you were to kind of instruct like a autistic person, like what works for me, obviously I'm autistic, it would definitely not work for someone else. Like everyone is completely different, along with similarities, but pretty different nevertheless.
Did your parents do anything that drove you nuts while they were teaching you to drive?
I love my dad. I love him. I love him a lot. But it's like that neuroreversal. I think it works. It's one of those stories that happens to everyone. The neuroreversal parent that has a lot of anxiety, and rightfully so, because my dad didn't know a possibility that existed. And I guess me being a bit more cautious, and he drives a truck. He drives a truck, and he goes around the state at times, depending on where he works at, construction worker. So he drives a big truck around on the highways, so he's kind of like more of a do-it type of person. And me trying to like figure all this out, it's one of those that kind of head butts with, along with the autism and everything else that's kind of adding into the mix. It gets better. It gets better. Because I know some parents are probably cringing at what I'm saying while they realize it's true. And then other teens and young adults listening to this would be like, this person gets it. It gets better for both of you. Like now my dad's fine. I just let him know a few times, but lately he doesn't care if I don't text him. Like, I'm over here, I'm over here. It gets better. Also depends on the parent.
Right. What stresses you out most about driving?
Good one, I guess. I guess maybe unexpected traffic or kind of some of the breaking rules. I kind of see it more as, because obviously when you need flexibility, obviously for a lot of drives, but you see some baffling things on 44 West Hartford, Avon, in Connecticut. Like I've seen drivers go through the opposite lane just to cut someone. And then a couple days ago, I actually saw this old couple that they were kind of going to this parking lot, about to go into the CBS parking lot, but instead of they go right into the parking lot, after they kind of went in, they kind of stopped and they try to like reverse back to go the opposite direction after they just made that turn into the CBS. And I stopped, but it was an off day, and I was like, did a lot of I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Did you yell at them?
On and off, it was so baffling. I couldn't believe that because honestly, this is just my perspective. It could be done any other way, so I don't want it to be like this is the only way you could do it. But I would think, since you're already going, it looks like you're about to go inside the parking lot. You might as well just go in the parking lot and then move around, and then you could turn left so you could go the other way instead of doing a weird U-turn or whatever it is. Yeah, that baffled me, and it was a weird day. My sensory input was shot during that time, like afternoon hour. I think I was overworking during that day, even on a Saturday. In the video game music, it was a good chance you will have, like, I pretty much have it almost maxed out, but I can still obviously hear everything. I love video game soundtracks, like stuff from like Nier Automata. I love that, like kind of like very out there music, and like even like other video game music like Zelda, Mario, Pokemon.
I love Zelda.
Like some of that, like that works for me.
Yep.
And Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is like a goldmine of great video game music. Only gamers like myself will know what I'm talking about.
Any tips you can share with other individuals with ASD that are beginning the license process?
One thing was no magic age. There's no magic age to start. Again, I'm 25, and I know it's one of those teenager rituals. If you need a little time, that's about it. If you have a lot going on in life, I mean, God forbid, this is like COVID-19 like era. If you need more time, like it makes sense. I totally get it. No one's judging you. At least I think no one's judging you. But and also make it a routine, because if you make it a routine, make it something that you get used to. It makes life a bit easier. And also just scheduling times, what makes sense. And you can do like small trips. Like I can care less if you go to like let's say Big Y or Best Buy or GameStop or Starbucks, anywhere that you could do a small trip and make it routine. It helps, and especially if you drive to your workplace, if it just happens to be nearby, it's a good motivator right there. It's a very good motivator, and just the parents just know. On the most part, a lot of people are trying to, like a lot of your teens and adults would do the best they can. So please, patience is really key.
What can you do now that you have your license that you couldn't do before?
Full-time job, because that's just mostly because I because of my Star Wars experience of creating something, and then a lot of people really, really wanted, and then I ended up getting hired. I got really lucky this weird time currently, because I was thinking once I get my bachelor's, I would probably get into full time, and then this happened, threw me off quite a bit, but it works for the best.